Mike Kern here with the Missouri Valley Conference. I'm with Adam Emmenecker to have another shoot-around conversation. And let's start first by the big matchup in Des Moines. Two top 25 caliber teams, one of them in the top 25 facing off, and the teams split a pair of games in Des Moines.
Yeah, a heck of a weekend here in Des Moines, Mike. We were looking forward to this. I feel like you and I were talking about it for 2 to 3 weeks. And, it's interesting. It didn't disappoint. And maybe you would look at the scores and be surprised by that. Of course, mentioning for Drake that Shanquan Tank Hemphill was out for the Bulldogs, wishing him a speedy recovery. But from the beginning, I think a couple observations. The one thing that stood out to me, man, this Loyola defense is absolutely for real. They are top in the NCAA in scoring defense, and they held Drake to a season low 54 points in game 1, followed by a season low 51 points in overtime of game 2. And I think what was most impressive to me about the Ramblers, I thought maybe Drake would have an advantage on the boards, but Loyola did a great job rebounding and not giving those second chance opportunities. Loyola finished game 1 plus 10 in the rebound margin and plus 18 in the rebounding margin in game 2. Really impressive. But, I think transitioning or turning the corner to Drake, they showed a ton of moxie. They struggled in game 1. Honestly, they really struggled. They were struggling to find themselves. But what Coach Darren DeVries and his staff did to have that team come back and win just a gutty matchup, 51-50. It was a little bit ugly, but a defensive battle. It just showed the grit of this Bulldog team. And I think the thing I left the weekend thinking, it proved to me that both the Drake Bulldogs, Loyola Ramblers, both of these two are deserving of a bid in the NCAA tournament. They still have some work to do, but man, any opponent they play is going to be nervous to watch that team, watch a Missouri Valley Conference team line up against them come March.
You couldn't be more right about that. And I think the one point I'd like to make in a 51-50 win, 51 points by a winning team matched the 7th lowest in the last 10 years. And that game went into overtime. That was the only game in that grouping that involved the extra 5 minutes. So gritty and great defense by both teams in game 2. And another team that's been trending up, now Loyola's winning streak is over. Missouri State has the longest winning streak in league play. They've won 5 in a row. Your thoughts on the Bears and heading towards Arch Madness on a hot streak?
Yeah, I wondered where they were going to be mentally after 4 straight conference losses to Drake and Loyola, right? You lose to the top team in the league and you wonder if that team's just going to splinter. But 5 straight wins for Dana Ford and the Bears, they've further separated themselves from the preseason number 3, Bradley, and preseason number 4, Indiana State. They did beat a depleted Bradley roster, but both games were convincing. I mean, Missouri State played really well. And, I think we've talked about Isaiah Mosley, held to a season low 4 points in game 1. But of course, what he does, he scores the ball, rebounds with 27 in game 2. Gage Prim, outstanding in both games, 20 per outing. This Missouri State team is somebody no one wants to play because they have the best 1-2 punch in the league with those two. Might get 2 guys on the first team all conference ballot, and they're in 3rd place. You don't see that very often. But another thing to keep an eye on, Mike, couple suspensions for Bradley, something we'll have to pay attention to as that team tries to close the conference season.
Yeah. Another thing we're looking at as we close down the home stretch, in addition to my dogs in the background, is schedule compaction. We've got 4 teams that have a lot of work to do as we head to the final week of the regular season.
Yeah, the dogs are excited. Yes, I get it. So 4 teams, Valpo, Evansville, Drake, and SIU. They've only played 13 games in conference. Everyone else has played 15, depending on COVID and rescheduling. Each of those schools, 5 games in 11 days to close the season. It's going to be a fast and furious end. Can't wait for Arch Madness. Looking forward to it. It's going to be an exciting end to the league. These teams are starting to play better and better, but 5 games in 11 days, you might see some people wear down. That's definitely going to be a challenge for all the coaches.
Yeah, it's going to be a great finish to the regular season. We're excited. Arch Madness is just 2 weeks away from Thursday, and let's bring it on.
Yeah, I like it. Looking forward to it. We'll keep watching and talk to you soon, Mike.
All right. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.